Mrs.M.NALA, Assistant Professor of History, Sri Sarda College for Women. Good morning to everybody. Contribution of K.Kamarajar Education and Political Development. K.Kamarajar was a powerful Indian politician and activist and statesman who played an important role in pre and post-independence politics. Born in a moderate middle-class family, Kamaraj raised with politics began early. His increasing interest in the country's political system finally culminated when he became a full-time worker of the Congress during the India struggle for independence. Kamaraj's humble beginning did not deter him as he persistently worked to contribute actively to the Congress struggle to overthrow the foreign rule. From beginning, merely a campaigner, he rose to become a legislator in the Madras presidency. The high point of his career came when he became the chief minister of Madras. Under his administration, Madras propelled forward and prospered. The education rate, which was merely 7% rose to the magnanimous 37% with opening of new school and education reforms. Irrigation and industry flourished, making Madras one of the leader of the industrialization. Interestingly, Kamaraj continued to contribute even after his primership as the president of the Indian National Congress for his immense contribution to the Madras presidency. Next, we will see his childhood and early life. Kumarasamy Kamaraj was born on July 15, 1903 at Virudhunagar, Tamil Nadu to Kumarasamy and Sivagami Ammayar. His father was a merchant. He had a younger sister, Nahammal. In 1907, Kamaraj enrolled at the traditional school. The following year, he enrolled at the Yanandi Narayana Vidya Salai, but after a year of study, he shifted his Virudupatti High School. Tragedy struck young Kamaraj when he was madly sick. His father died and his mother was forced to support her family. To help his mother, Kamaraj dropped out of school in 1940 to support his family. Kamaraj and Gandhi. Next slide. Kamaraj came to know about Gandhi at the age of 12. One of his friends, Govinda Nadar, who was also called as Bombay Annachi, was a businessman having trade contact with all major cities in North India. He used to travel to the cities quite often. When he returned to Virudhunagar, he would narrate the major events that were happening in those cities. Once he had been to Bombay and had attended the 1915 Bombay Conference of the Congress Party. His vivid description of the happening in conference and detailed exposition on the speech of leaders like Gopalakrishna Gokhale, Lokmanya Bal Gangadhar Tilak, Motilal Nehru, and Mohandas Karamchand Gandhi impressed the young Kamaraj most. On regularly hearing the news of the freedom struggle, Kamaraj began to have some kind of valuable feelings towards the Congress movement and its leaders. Since then, he began to attend the meeting held in Virudhunagar at the behest of the Congress party. Kamaraj, Gandhi had affected Kamaraj both in personal life and his public life. According to the dictator of Gandhi, Kamaraj had led a pure and simple life. Before independence, Kamaraj was a freedom fighter under the leadership of Gandhi. After independence, he had cooperated with Jawaharlal Nehru, who was chosen heir of Gandhi. In 1954, when he became the Chief Minister of the Madras state, he had implemented Gandhian ideal by making use of the administrative machinery. His administration was transparent, corrupt-free, and fully committed to the welfare of the people. After the assassination of Gandhi, Kamaraj continued to cherish his ideal with inward love and faith. Next, we will see the Kamaraj in political career. Kamaraj started his career doing odd jobs. He worked at his uncle's provision shop. It was during his time that Kamaraj developed interest in politics. He was an avid newspaper reader and helped himself update with the current events. He soon became involved with political processions and public meetings and acquainted himself with the Indian Home Rule movement. In 1999 Jallianwala Bagh massacre was turning point in the Kamaraj's life. The killing of innocent people incited a range of fury and vehemence in Kamaraj, who decided to work actively in India's struggle for freedom, bring an end to the British Raj. Next, we see the Kamaraj growing interest in politics was not supported by his family, who sent him to Thiruvananthapuram, where his second uncle stayed. However, Kamaraj passion for politics could not be curtailed in Thiruvananthapuram as well. He participated in the Vaikom Satyagraha led by Charles Joseph of the Congress against the atrocity of the higher caste Hindu on the Harjans. Kamaraj met Mahatma Gandhi, India's phase of freedom struggle, at the Madurai Congress meet. He was inspired by the latter's simplicity and non-violence movement. His political activities in Thiruvananthapuram annoyed his family to the point that he was called back. Though the elders in the family persuaded Kamaraj to stop getting involved in the country's politics, it was without much result. Then even tried to marry him off, but Kamaraj resolutely disagreed. Next, we see the in 1920, he joined the Congress as a full-time worker. He actively worked as political campaigner, organizing public meetings and carrying the Congress propaganda. Early in his career as a political activist, he participated in many events as a part of the non-cooperation movement, including the Nagpur Flag Satyagraha, Swat Satyagraha, Nail Statue Satyagraha, and so on. After joining the Congress, he participated in almost all the agitation and demonstration against the British rule in India. A pre-independence, a party like which Congress which had nothing to offer to its cadre except suffering and imprisonment under the British rule, became the home for Kamaraj. With terrific energy and dedicated service, Kamaraj converted the Congress into formidable organization in Tamil Nadu. Himself a grassroots level worker, he became very popular among his party rank and file. He was imprisoned for the first time when he was part in the Salt Satyagraha undertaken by Gandhi. Later participated in almost all the agitation. He courted, arrested, and underwent long period of imprisonment. His association with stalwarts in prison helped him broaden his outlook. He grew fond of book and through interaction with intellectuals in prison, Kamaraj developed his leadership skill that proved a valuable asset to him as an administrator in later years of his life. Kamarajar in 1930, Kamaraj participated in Rajgopalachari led the Salt Satyagraha movement in Vedaranyam. He was sentenced for 2 years. However, his term of imprisonment was cut short following the Gandhi Irving Pact that led to his release in 1931. 1932, de- des- despite the ban on public meeting and the procession in Madras. He led a procession and demonstration which subsequently led to his arrest and one-of-year imprisonment. 1933, Kamaraj was again charged with involvement in the Virudhunagar bomb case. However, he was acquitted after not being found guilty. 1936, Guru Satyamurthy was elected the president of Provincial Congress. Later, appointed Kamaraj as the general secretary, and 4 years later, he dowed swapped position, strengthening the party base through the leadership skill. 1942, he attended the All India Congress met in Bombay, where Gandhi's Fit India movement bore in it the role. He spread the propaganda material to Trichy, Tanjavur, Ranipet, and Madurai. For the same, was arrested and imprisoned for 3 years during his term in jail. He read and self-educated himself. He was imprisoned several times and spent 10 years in prison. 1930, Kamaraj participated in Salt Satyagraha when the Indian marched to Vedaranyam under the leadership of Rajagopalachari as a protest against the British colonial rule of India. As a consequence, he was sent to Alipur jail in Kolkata and remained there for 2 years when he was a suspect in a bomb blast case in Virudhunagar in 1933. George Joseph and Dr. P. Varadarajalu Naidu argued on Kamaraj's behalf and proved him to be innocent. In 1937, he was elected to the Madras Legislative Assembly with no opposition. 1940, when Kamaraj was on his way to Varta and get approval of Satyagrahist list, he was arrested and sentenced to jail by the British. While he was still in jail, he was elected as a chairman of the municipal council in Virudhunagar. Once he was released from jail, he walked directly to the municipality and submitted his resignation, saying that one should not accept any responsibility when he cannot do the justice to it. In 1942, Kamaraj was arrested and sentenced to the 3 years of imprisonment in Amaravati prison. During his imprisonment, Kamaraj educated himself by reading the books in jail. He went to play an important role in Quit India movement, Home Rule movement, and Satyagraha movement, among the cost of other pre-independent struggle and boycott. He was imprisoned close to 6 times, accumulating more than 3,000 days. Over 8 years in jail, Kamraj was elected to the Madras Presidency Legislature in 1937 and again in 1946. In 1936, he had been named General Secretary of Madras branch of the Congress Party, and in 1940, he became its president. In 1947, he was elevated to the working committee of the National Party, and he remained associated with the group until 1969. He was also a member of the Constituent Assembly that in 1946 drafted the constitution for soon to be independent India. In 1951, Kamaraj contested and won a seat in the election for the first Lok Sabha. Kamaraj was the chief minister by defeating Rajagopalacharya as Rajaji. Candidate after Rajaji was forced to resign due to his infamous caste work based on educational policy. Kamaraj succeeded P. Rajagopalachari as the Chief Minister of Tamil Nadu on April 13, 1954. Undoubtedly, this was a great achievement for him as he was the anonymous choice for the high office. He was honest and selfless to the core, and he occupied the post with distinction for 10 years from 1954. Initially, there was opposition to his candidate as soon as some criticized his poor educational background and said that he would not be able to fulfill his responsibility as a chief minister, but his performance proved the critic wrong. During his tenure of chief minister, Madras witnessed well directed growth in the industrial and agricultural field. A huge industrial estate, the biggest in Asia at the time, was established on the outskirts of the Chennai. He was assisted by the Minister for Industry, Venkatraman, who later became the President of India. Next, we will see the as a Chief Minister. On 13th April 1954, Kamaraj became the Chief Minister of Madras Province. To everyone's surprise, Kamaraj nominated Sri Subramaniam and Bhaktavachalam, who had contested his leadership, to the newly formed cabinet. As a chief minister, Kamaraj removed the family vacation based on hereditary educational policy introduced by Rajaji. The state, the state made immense stride in the education and trade. New schools were opened so that poor rural students had walked no more than 3 kilometers to their nearest school. Better facilities were added to existing ones. No village remained without a primary school and no panchayat without a high school. Kamaraj strived to eradicate illiteracy by introducing free and compulsory education up to the 11th standard. He introduced the midday meals to provide at least one meal per day to the lack of poor school children. Later, it was expanded for four more schools. This was the precursor to the free noon meal schemes introduced by K.Kamarajar in 1960 and expanded by M.G. Ramachandran in 1980. He introduced preschool uniform where weed out caste, creed, and class distinction among the young minds. During the British regime, the education rate was only 7%, but after Kamaraj, the reformists reached 37%. Apart from the increasing the number of schools, the steps were taken to improve the standard of education. To improve the standard, the number of working days were increased from 180 to 200. Unnecessary holidays were reduced, and syllabi were prepared to give opportunity to various abilities. Kamaraj and Vishnu Ram Mehdi took efforts to establish the IIT in Madras 1980. Next, we will see educational development. Kamaraj very particularly in promoting primary school education. He wanted to motivate those depressed communities which were earlier denied the benefits of education. During his tour of village, to his dismay, he saw the children were in a state of poor health due to poverty, with poor vision, ungroomed hair without nourishment of oil, ill-fed, scantily dressed, and dwelling in the insanitary huts. He realized that under such a situation, the parent would care little about their children's education. For this purpose, he had made primary education free. 133, he had ensured the village with population 300 people should be provided with a primary schools. 133, he was created single teacher school in village and facilitated the employment youth to have job. 135, even after his poor school in the country side hesitated to send their children to school as they were also earning some money to add the family income. Kamaraj thought about a plan to draw the children to the school. He thought that if midday meals were provided to the children in school, the poor people may be motivated to send their children to school rather than sending them to the tent cattled or worked in the farm. Midday meal scheme, which was already in existence in smaller proportion in since 1925, was extended by Kamaraj to all village and supported the government to magnificent and subsidy. Kamaraj found out the scheme was sound and workable. After the launch of scheme, thousands of parents send their children to school. Kamaraj also expanded educational facility to one and all. And in 1951, 133 Madras Information, March 9, March, January 1955, there are 16,037 primary school in the state. The rose to 30,554 in 1966. The number of peoples on the rolls were 1,852 million in 1951, increased to 3,558 million in 1961. In 1961, the number of children in the midday meal scheme was 88 lakhs and 8,000. The government subsidy was extended 8.278 million. In 1966, number of children where midday meals program had increased. The scheme had received wide support from the press, other state government, and from Nehru himself. The scheme was successfully forward beyond the exception. It became huge incentive for the peoples to join the school in large numbers. The wastage through the dropout declined. Enrollment in school increased in rural areas and also helped to break the caste barrier and led to the silent resolution. Many state governments followed the midday meal scheme of Kamaraj in their respective state. The American government was very much impressed by the scheme and come forward to associate with the scheme. It sent milk powder packet through the CARE program. Besides, free books, slate, and dress for the poor children attending the school were distributed to the government. Kamaraj contributed to the cost of the education in Tamil Nadu was immense. Thank you.